Peace, 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 love, and light. Make sure you hit the like button, share this on all your social media outlets. We'll be back in 30 seconds, you guys. Peace, 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 peace. Peace, love, and light to all the American Aborigines. It's your brother Aboriginal Power. We're going to do this thing right. I need y'all to drop some fire emojis in the chat, man. Hey, I'm going to need y'all to drop some fire emojis in the chat. It's going to be a nice and beautiful day. So let's get straight to it, man. I ain't going to hold y'all any longer. Let's get to the intro. Good to see y'all out here this morning.
Welcome.
This Grand Rising.
Once again, it's time.
I see you, Moonfee, Sean P.
Yeah.
Juan, Monkey D.
It's King Isaiah, I'm demanding respect. I see everybody ballin' till it's time to connect. I see everybody killers till you hand them a tech. Or cops read them they rights, nightsticks to they neck. Too many chasing the check instead of checking priorities. Flexing heavy on the ground, but you still a minority. Fucking whips, your chains, or anything that came after. Misleading black people, you a fucking slave master. This is Genesis, I'm flipping the page backwards. Listen to intuition, we ain't got the same pastors. Me, I follow no man, I can't be programmed. This soul food set the mood like a fucking slow jam. It's time to eat up. I'm 10 toes down, who gon' defeat us? I'm living gold, aboriginal, check my features. Who gon' speak up? I turn up and blow speakers. My own teacher, I grew up with no leaders. Can't trust people, cause they ain't telling the whole truth. Get directions to heaven, but you live in the hell too. That's how I feel, keeping it real. Love it or hate it, either way they trying to crucify me like the savior. Put thorns in my crown, they knowing that I'm a king. We been crossed too many times, whipped and hung from trees. I am my ancestors from the past that done bled, and now we here resurrected, bitch, I'm back from the dead, immortal. They can't kill me, I'm forever on the rise. They despise my genetics, it's something special about my kind. I'm descendant of the ones in the tombs. Brown babies coming from wombs, in tune with the sun and the moon, you feel me? If it ain't clear, it's time to switch optics. Cause ignorance got us moving in fear, and that bring them big profits. But I'm a prophet, so I kick knowledge. Cause the shit that you hearing on the radio got us misguided. They got our goddesses hating they real bodies, and the gods getting high off lean, they're pill popping. Bodies are still dropping. Is you paying attention? I guess not, you still paying to listen. I move different in my true image, just too many projecting hate. Who gon' lift the whole world up and tell them they great? Who gon' tell everybody getting money, but who's spreading the bait? So we can buy back the block, start to better this place. Cause our skin tones is dark, it's divine mastery. The hair grown from my dome defies gravity, yeah. The real rulers of earth rebirth humanity. Facts. The queen's high supreme, call her your majesty. Facts. You better battle me, listen, don't be a casualty. Fuck a colonizer, we guardians of the galaxy. They super late, bitch, I move truth, fuck moving weight. Earth is our true estate, that let our lights illuminate and prosper. I promise I'm passionate with my power. I'm writing all my wrongs and balancing every chakra. Who gon' stop? I'm a daddy try. The reason you so scared to fly is cause you scared to die. But I exist on dimensions beyond this plane. You thinking it's all a game. When you open up your eyes, your energy start to change. We still traumatized and healing from all the pain. It's good versus evil, our enemies all the same. So I'm 10 toes down with my feet in the dirt. And when I leave earth, you still hear me speaking this verse. This music is all my scriptures I've been keeping since birth. When I spoke them into existence, I was seeing my worth. My purpose is my perspective. I'm serving a higher message. A piece of the most high is written in my genetics. I speak for my soul tribe. We shed a divine essence, releasing the soul ties to whatever we find negative light. Instead of bashing out women, we heal with them. Instead of running from problems, we deal with them. And instead of killing our brothers, we build with them. So fuck the illusions, we seeing the real picture. We here. It's more spiritual than physical, nigga. If you ain't trying to bring change, you invincible, nigga, for real. My message lives, it's invincible, nigga. And fuck being rich if you ain't got no principles, nigga. Prayer.
Hey, let me say something real quick. All these years we've been calling each other niggas and they think we tripping. Have our own kind looking at us with resentment, but listen. You see, we not slaves, but we are the descendants. But this is a new age, so it's time to transition. Nigga means noble individual, grace and godly ambition. Cause we always make gold out of the labels that they give us. Cause this is our land, we were the first that ever existed. So respect your temple, honor your pigment. From the motherland to the other lands, we are
indigenous.
Yeah. Hey man, all I'm saying is, nigga, you always got something to say.
Shout out to the 57 people in here. Drop some fire emojis. Share the live stream. Let's get it, you guys. We just getting time.
A lot of niggas died 1865. Chicken Michael fled, how I ain't gon' let it ride. Everybody hiding, black was never on your side. They do maps to tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging them for answers like that white man know. Had you swearing you was African, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man's zone. And I ain't talking shit, this by definition. If being savage was our nation, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say. We the God to the gate. So when they say they fear God, now you know what they made. Shoot some, move some, shoot some, move some.
Put us in the same room, he gon' go down. Hit a nigga with that boom, he gon' go down.
Shoot some, move some, shoot some, move some.
Put us in the same room, he gon' go down. Hit a nigga with that boom, he gon' go down.
Every day my niggas dying, they don't know the truth. How the hell you close to God, we don't know it's you. Yo, how the hell you supposed to survive, we don't know the shoot. He should've died, you let him slide, cause he look just like you. I tried to tell him all skin ain't kin. Everybody ain't your partner, everybody ain't your friend. How the hell they supposed to help when they the ones that put you in? They don't struggle how we struggle, they can't get it how we live. Can't be scared to die when we already dead. Either way, your life is safe no matter how you play it. My higher self said we should choose remain godly. My lower want these motherfucking bodies. Infiltrate they circles like a motherfucking Audi. Take them to the south and put them down like OG Bobby. They don't want equality in this club, they want these problems. Killers right beside me, slab full of chicken mockers. Shoot some, move some, shoot some, move some.
Put us in the same room, he gon' go down. Hit a nigga with that boom, he gon' go down.
Shoot some, move some, shoot some, move some.
Put us in the same room, he gon' go down. Hit a nigga with that boom, he gon' go down.
Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Before we get into this next one, man, I want to say peace and blessings to everybody. Make sure you hit that like button. Support the channel. We'll get into some science, some civilizations, culture.
Fucking science. Yeah, fucking science, bro.
Check. Goggles, check. Nodules, check. Fucking science, bro.
Hi, lads. Welcome to science class. Quit writing raps in your log sheet. No one's gonna sign your ass. Okay, let's get scientific. Fossil fuels come from years and years of biodecomposition. It's really just scientific. Why didn't all the fossils turn to oil? Some did, some didn't. Anyway.
Didn't Rockefeller pay a scientist off the year Geneva Convention?
Wait, what was that? You wanna come up here in front of class? What, you wanna teach? You really think you're smarter than me? No, sir. Sit down. Here's your homework on the atom bomb and the World War, how it affected us then and now.
Well, I seen the footage and I really just want some answers. How does someone film an atomic bomb and it doesn't destroy the camera? I mean, I was just...
Bro,
I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know.
Fucking science, bro.
Okay. Check. Goggles, check. Nodules, check.
Fucking science, bro. Welcome to history. We evolved from Neanderthals. That is no mystery.
Well, why are there no monkey fossils?
What, are you kidding me?
I'm just saying.
You should have learned that way back in elementary.
Man, this nigga know the fuck he's
What? I have a diploma. Do you have a diploma? Or we're learning this order. My wife is a lawyer. We both have a daughter. She's doing fine with the things that we taught her.
I'm just using the scientific method. Did we evolve from Electronica Boy or Homo erectus? And all of the fossilized footprints in the fossil records don't show a line of thrust. That's not consistent with compression.
What the fuck did he just say?
Yeah, okay, smart ass. This is real knowledge. Save all that hippie shit for art class. It's really starting to bug me on this one. Gonna have to trust me on this one. I've done the studies on this one. You're a little rusty on this one. I mean, why can't you just answer my question on the subject? It's not in the fucking book. It's not up for discussion. Science. I fucking love science. I love science.
Level, check. Goggles, check. Nodules, check.
Fucking science, bro. Damn, must have been the hell of them Stegosaurus. It's over century burning fossil fuels. Still ain't no shortages. I ain't saying I'm Neo, but I'm nothing short of a Morpheus. Fuck, thought this was a globe. I gotta check my coordinates. You could blame my disorderly conduct on my subordinates. If it ain't no Coriolis, who's to blame for New Orleans? Why the poorest people always get extorted by corporate giants? We don't boycott, we buy it, and I find it unfortunate. Yeah, me plus you plus her plus her, that's four.
Now,
Bring your worst and I'm gonna bring much more. Yeah, leave your nerves, your skirt both at the door.
add it up.
In case you didn't know, cuz.
Fucking science, bro.
Well, Earthshine is much brighter than moonshine.
Fucking science, bro.
Level,
Moonshine,
goggles,
moonshine,
nodules,
moonshine.
fucking
Moonshine.
How many fingers am I holding up? I'll make them beating if you bold enough. Bobby Ray don't give no ounce of fuck. Every team is weak, you beat your bouncer up.
Hey, stop making out. I know your mother, Susan. I'm gonna tell Susan about this.
Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Hopefully y'all having a great grand rising. Peace and blessings. Hopefully y'all feeling good. If y'all drop some fire emojis in the chat, let me know y'all can hear me loud and clear, man. Shout out to my brother Chief Holiday. Chief Holiday is working on the First Americans documentary. I can't wait till it come out. Got a lot of exclusive information. Should be mind-blowing and eye-awakening to a lot of the brothers and sisters that's maybe even not even privy to this information. While we talk about that, let's take a look at that trailer right quick.
One thing about our community is that we don't identify as African, and we don't like identify as African American.
I'm talking for the natives.
Yeah.
I like when it comes to talking about African Americans, I have no education with that. Period. I don't. I'm not even connecting to that no more because that's a system.
A Negro is still languished in the corners of American society. Finds himself in exile in his own land.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. You never find a white aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines.
Shout out to Chief Holiday, man. If you want to support that, make sure y'all go support Chief Holiday in the First Americans documentary, man. Like I said, man, let's get back to the meat and potatoes before I get into it. Aborigines. If you hear my voice, listen to me. Shop with other Aborigines. There's other websites, online, clothing, memorabilia, different things, handcrafted Aboriginal things like dream catchers, coffee mugs, license plates, covers, blankets. You know, the sky's the limit. Support with Aborigines. One particular site you can go to is weare2am.com. Somebody can put that in the chat. Go to weare2am.com. Go get you some Aboriginal Power merch. Go get you some Supreme Chief Holiday merch. Go get you some indigenous Aboriginal merch. If you want to get something handcrafted just to hang up in your room like a dream catcher, something that comes with energy, collects the negative thoughts, and distribute them out. Hey, shout out to the Sister Chick Comedy Roots. If you want to handcraft it, handmade by Aboriginal Dreamcatcher. Make sure you DM the sister chick Harmony Roots. Shout out to her. And peace and blessings to everybody else in the chat. We're gonna get right into it, man. How y'all feeling out there? Hey, I'm about to come out with my new comic book too. It's gonna be a coloring comic book. It's gonna have Bro Sanchez in it. You ever seen the old Where's Waldo video comic books? You ever seen the Where's Waldo coloring books? You used to have to go color and you looking for Waldo, and it's hard as hell to find them. Well, we got one called Where's Bro Sanchez. We're looking for one called Where's Bro Sanchez. The new coloring book coming out real soon. Don't trip. Where is he? He is ducking. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. How y'all feeling? I can't help with that. I can help with that. Yeah, we can. Let's do a word Bro Sanchez painting. Shout out to Shout out to Root Words, aka Indigenous Moore, Brown Wolf, shout out to Ogla, Envy, shout out to Moon Feed, shout out to Tonsinist History 101, Kevin Gilbert, Renee Leona, shout out to Demetrius Freeland, shout out to Dee Alexander, Matrix Glitch, Chick Comedy Roots, Chief Crazy Overstanding, Empress Makisha, Sun Baby, Jan Ronner, shout out to Jan Ronner, Iron Clan War Chief, shout out to you, Antone Williams, Juan Torres, Darius Lewis, Eastside 1415, the original Copper Empress Hobart, A Dots V Dots, shout out to Rail Stone, Leona 23, T Christopher, Copper Alma, who else we got? Mound City Mellow, Mr. Sig. We got Snake Guy, Brandon Rogers. We got Shy Alpha in the building. Tribal Two Knives, PG, Patrick Sanders. Who else we got in here? Sagittarius Jones. Shout out to y'all for tapping in, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button as we finish this thing on up. Make sure you hit that like button. Shout out to Omega, Immortal Armor Ruin, Eric Duncan, Grassroots. Who else we got up in here? Shout out to Sean P. Shout out to the brother Sean P. M. Stowers, Tight Sound, the North American Negro, Mark D. Is that it? I believe that's it. And shout out to Commander in Chief. Who else we got? We got Bat Creek in here. Pop Reed. Pop Reed in the building. Regional Badman. David Bell. Elizabeth Young. Sister Soul Main Radio. If you ain't subscribed to Sister Soul Main Radio, make sure y'all go subscribe to Sister Soul Main Radio. Shout out to my brother Run It Back Games in the building. All right, I believe that's it for you guys, man. Make sure y'all go hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell, you guys. Hey, man, if you're watching this, this is the Wake and Bake channel, so make sure y'all tune in. This is the Fire Room. Shout out to Courtney, Chief Courtney in the building. All righty, y'all. Let's get straight into it, man. I'm not gonna hold y'all any longer. I do want to get into some of the meat and potatoes of the conversation. Native Americans linked to Asian. We're gonna have that conversation. That's gonna be more of the open panel conversation. So let's get into some audio and that I got lined up for you guys. Make sure you hit the like button.
There's a lot of great cryptocurrencies out there that are saving lives in places like Venezuela. So we have to take notice of that.
Is Bitcoin one of those?
Bitcoin is the most adopted. It's utilized by millions of people, and it's saved a lot of lives as well. A lot of people that would be on the street today that are now millionaires living off of Bitcoin. And a lot of people in the independent media world live off of that after YouTube decided to fuck everyone and demonetize and start shadow banning everyone. I mean, Bitcoin has been a lifesaver to a lot of people in independent media.
And listen, this is crazy because we watched the Noriega and Kanye West Drink Champs interview. If y'all remember that not too long ago, drop some fire emojis in the chat if y'all remember that. But in the midst of that conversation, they was talking about shadow ban, and what was absurd to me is when Kanye started talking about shadow banning and being shadow banned, the motherfucking Noriega said, "What is that?" So even these big celebrities and big time people who's directly involved and directly impacted by shadow banning don't even know what it is, you guys. So when we've been talking about shadow banning for the last 3-4 years, right, we was ahead of the curve. And a lot of this information is ahead of the curve. It's only going to be within the next few years, 5 to 10 years, that a lot of this information will be usurped into the general education system. So a lot of you guys are ahead of the curve when it comes to this information. This is grassroots, primary, and elite researchers right here, coming from the brother Big Al Power, one of the elite researchers around here. Trust me. And trust me, y'all are ahead of the curve if y'all are indulging and gathering and putting out this information. Let's continue. Drop some fire emojis in the chat.
You know, we've had guests on saying, "Oh, I see it at 100,000. I see it." Do you ever see those numbers getting that big?
100%. Oh, yeah. I mean, in 2021, by the end of 2021, I would be surprised if it doesn't hit $100,000. You could take that to the bank, not investment advice for legal reasons. Yeah. But this is my opinion. But I do want to say, I mean, yeah, we're looking at the halving coming up on May 14th, which means the production of Bitcoin is cut in half.
What?
And so that the amount that's created on a regular basis is cut in half. That's scarcity. That's so much value comes out of that.
Who decides that? That's
already made.
Math. It's math. It's already there.
Yeah, it's already there. You can't make any more. There's a certain amount. You can only make the certain amount of Bitcoin, and that's
21 million.
21 million. That's why it's going to be so expensive at a certain point.
Now, is there any worry that there's such advanced AI that an AI can crack the code and just start cranking out Bitcoins?
It's a concern, but I've never seen any evidence of it. And I mean, as far as quantum computing and the government trying to override Bitcoin, the government's inefficient at absolutely everything other than murdering people.
Hey, and by the way, man, this is the Wake and Bake build. This is the Wake and Bake build. So make sure y'all light y'all woods up. That's what I'm about to light up right now as we speak. We about to light the backwood up. So make sure y'all tap in. Let's go. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hit the like button, share this on all your social media outlets, and support the channel. If you want to support the channel, the link is at the bottom right of the screen.
So honestly, they can try as much as they want. The free market develops faster, and one day Bitcoin will probably be replaced by other cryptocurrencies. No doubt about it.
The Federal Reserve is trying to make their own Bitcoin.
I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Because that's just like Facebook. They're like, yeah, I know you all think we're evil, but we're going to make this cool-ass digital coin, and you're all going to jump in on it. You're like, no, someone made digital coin because they don't like you.
It's like Steve Buscemi. Hello, fellow teenagers. It's ridiculous. I'm looking at things like the Bank of Canada came out with this paper called the Digital Currency, whatever. I forget exactly what it's called. And it was in order to combat Bitcoin, they're going to create their own digital currency, not cryptographic, but digital currency. It's like, how out of touch
I'm on the same shit, Chief Crazy Overstanding. That's crazy. We on the same shit.
Are these people that they think people are going to...
No,
it's a stable coin. You can't even make money off of it. That's where a huge amount of the speculation comes in for Bitcoin. It's just going to stay flat as the dollar goes down. I mean, it's a race to the bottom. It's stupid. It's like Libra.
It's like all these Federal Reserve digital currency is like Mike Bloomberg comedy, right? It's like, it's so phony. It resonates with nobody. Nobody's buying into it. It's so forced. It's like, hey, dude, can you invite all the kids to my birthday party? And I'm gonna have all the coolest things at my birthday party, but nobody's showing up to your birthday party.
Dude, it reminds me of Elizabeth Warren trying to drink beer. She shoves half the bottle down her throat, and it overflows. And again, it's like, hello, fellow kids. It's the most stupid thing I've ever seen. I mean, I don't know how these people could have made it 30 years ago. Today, people are onto that
Josh,
bullshit.
I love everything about you except for the pronunciation of your last name. Besides that, I think I'm liking you already. It's very interesting. So let's get into the story of you. Where does this journey begin before we get into the lost city of Atlanta? Like, you seem to be somebody who just likes to go where the action's at.
Hey, so listen, I just want to let y'all hear that part. Let's skip it up a little bit. Let's get into the meat and potatoes.
Cops come up to me with their machine guns and demand to delete all my pictures. They don't know what the recently deleted folder is because they're cops. But I mean, it's the biggest struggle. Otherwise, I have no issue with people. There's a few people that try to sell you a bunch of bullshit on the street and try to make you buy a bunch of crap. But I mean, you just wave them off and be rude to them because they're being rude to you, and carry on with your life.
Has there been any moments where you were nervous? Like, okay, this is somewhat maybe escalating. I might be in danger. Maybe nobody speaks English. I don't know how many languages you speak. Is there a moment that you're like, oh, okay, this is not good?
I'll be honest. I think there's actually something wrong with me. I haven't felt fear. The last time I felt fear was when I was going through a minefield. I was driving through for about 10, 15 minutes. There were exploded vehicles everywhere. My driver that I paid $150 to, who couldn't speak English, was white-knuckling it, thinking, like, what the fuck's wrong with these white guys, right? And he's driving up and down the stuff, and this guy honks at us. We skid to a stop. Turns out we were moments away from hitting a landmine. We had to back out and go around it.
Oh, my God!
78 million landmines in the region of Mauritania, Western Sahara, Morocco, due to a civil war that's still kind of raging. It's kind of like a cold civil war at this point, but yeah, it's incredibly concerning. There's this no man land with a ton of landmines, and the last time I felt fear was there. I was going through it. For a moment, I felt freaked out, like the car is going to blow up at any point, and it's on video in my documentary Atlantis in the Desert. But what happens is I suddenly something snapped in my head, and I just started smiling, and I'm like, at any moment this could end, but if it doesn't end, this is one hell of a story. And I got out of there, and all was well. And honestly, the only time since that I get, I've been afraid of anything is when someone jumps out at me without me expecting it. It's a moment of fear. That's all I felt since I was there.
You'd hate to be on a prank show, huh? I mean, like, that's what they do on prank shows all the time. So let's get into why Atlantis. What about Atlantis, piqued your interest?
Well, I've always been interested in ancient civilizations, starting off with Egypt. Ancient Egypt always blew my mind, and we have to remember that Atlantis is said to have been the starting civilization that led to the creation of Egypt and what we see in Egypt. And there's so many mysteries about the pyramids, about the Sphinx, the age of the Sphinx, all of that kind of stuff, and that kind of led me into digging into Atlantis itself, because it's a dirty word, and there's a reason why it's a dirty word, because any academic, any mainstream archaeologist dares to mention that word and their career is destroyed unless they're saying, oh, Atlantis, that's a bunch of bullshit. It's the only way that they can say that word without getting discredited. And it's insane. We're talking most of what we know about archaeology today, Egyptology, all that kind of stuff, that goes back to like the 1850s. Assumptions, if you actually look into the reason why they believe many of these places are as old as they are, it's usually because, we found a little toy statuette in this little room here, so it must be dated to the time of Khufu or something like that. And there's literally nothing else that tells them how old most of these places are, and it's insane that we're not allowed to study it. But anyway, looking into Egyptology and
why do you think we're not allowed to study it?
Well, we could ask the Freemasons a bit about that. We can ask a lot. You look at your dollar bill and you see a pyramid with an eye on it. You see the Eye of Horus. You look at Washington, D.C., and it's covered with ancient Egyptian structures. You go anywhere in the world, you see New York, Central Park, they got one of Cleopatra's needles. Same with, which comes from Egypt. Same with if you go to Paris, if you go to London, if you go to any of the financial centers. They know something. I've talked with some Masons that are really high up before that have alluded to the fact that they know a lot of stuff that they're obsessed with and they talk about all the time regarding ancient Egypt. The Romans were obsessed. The Greeks were obsessed. Everyone tried to mimic the Egyptians. And interestingly enough, the Egyptians told all of these civilizations that they got their knowledge from this earlier epoch. And so we could call it Atlantis. Obviously, Atlantis is the most well-known word for it, but it's a Greek word. But we could say the same thing about Atlan, the origin land of the Aztecs on the other side of the world, or Atlantico, the origin land of the Basque people in Spain, or Atlanticum, which is on the ancient Ptolemy maps in Mauritania, right where the reshot structure is, which I was the first person to expose. No one actually even knew about that. I put out a video a while back ago on that. You go to the Vatican, there's messages everywhere at the Vatican. It's one of the creepiest places I've ever been. You walk around the Vatican and all you see are Egyptian obelisks, Egyptian monuments that, most Christians would consider satanic, but you go there and it's everywhere you look.
Yeah.
And
that's some shit.
Shout out to Ivy for the cash out donation. Said keep sharing the information. I appreciate the support. I'm gonna keep trying to share. I'm going to keep on bringing the information as much as we can. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to the sister Ivy for the cash out donation. Hey, y'all don't let the sister be the only one to support the channel. Y'all will continue.
No one actually even knew about that. I put out a video a while back ago on that. You go to the Vatican, there's messages everywhere at the Vatican. It's one of the creepiest places I've ever been. You walk around the Vatican and all you see are Egyptian obelisks, Egyptian monuments, that most Christians would consider satanic, but you go there and everywhere you look.
Yeah.
And
that's some shady shit, dude.
But this is what's interesting, though. Atlantis is one word for it. If you go to Egypt and you look at the Edfu building text, the Edfu building text talks about a circular city. And this circular city has concentric rings, and it was reduced in a day and night of whatever they call misfortune, to reeds and mud below the water. And the civilization, the 7 sages, moved from this land out to the Nile to repopulate civilization after the flood. After the flood, they taught Thoth, the wisdom god in Egypt, all they knew, and he brought all the information from the ancient civilization.
And now, mind you, when they talking about this Thoth and he brought ancient civilization knowledge from the ancient civilization, this is all fact, but it's told in romanticism. It's told in a metaphor. Even the story of Noah explains the science and the great people that was here during this particular cataclysm. They make the cataclysm seem like it was ordained, but in fact it was natural. So it has no simple explanation, only that it's nature. You see what I'm saying? So when you're explaining some of the science, or what we call antediluvian information, you can find science building evidence of civilization prior to what we call a younger Dryas, prior to what we call the Little Ice Age, or the thawing of the Little Ice Age, or what we will call Atlantis, Lemuria. I'm not going to call it this. This could be romanticism. But the place that they say these places exists. The time that they say it was destroyed is accurate according to consensus dealing with mainstream science, right? Mainstream science have confirmed that the youngest Dryas was around 12,900 years ago. Atlantis story, Plato's Solon Thoth also says that it happened, which will be around 12 to 13,000 years as well. So what we have is a significant claims from historical past that has now been backed up or confirmed with modern day science. So, and much like the information that a lot of us put out, Chief Holiday, Ab TV, Attention is 111 Truth Searcher, Root Words. A lot of brothers put out information that's ahead of the game. It's not going to be until the near future is when they start to realize how important and how accurate this information is. Only when mainstream science confirms a lot of this stuff, and a lot of it has been confirmed within recent years. Hey, let's continue. Drop the fire emojis in the chat. It's a fire ass build, y'all. Hey, can we get the likes up? Damn, we got 145 in here and only got like 90 likes. Come on, G. Don't do it like it. Can we get the likes up? On phone now.
And they built all these amazing things in
Shout
Egypt.
out to y'all, man. It's the Wake and
I
Bake.
think that's amazing.
I know y'all smoking. I know y'all smoking and shit and I forgot, so I ain't even tripping. But damn, go hit the like button. I know y'all done lit the wood up. We got it lit already. Man, hit the like button.
You look at that, every civilization in the world has a great flood story. Over 600 stories, and out of those, over 400 have been analyzed, and over 80% of all those stories had no connection to each other. All around the world, in a time when we weren't supposed to be able to connect with each other, we weren't supposed to be able to reach each other, there's this helping hand. And I call it a helping hand. I get that from Graham Hancock. Because what I find interesting about the helping hand is, if you ever play a game of...
Hey, and all Native Americans and so-called mestizos and Asian descent people that's in the chat, stick around. I will be dropping the link and we will be getting into the meat and potatoes about Native Americans' DNA linked to Asians. So we will be talking about that. Stay around. I will like for y'all to come and add your information or input.
Telephone. You tell someone a word and then 20 people down, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
A little, usually much different.
Yeah.
But there's always variations of the truth in the lie. And what I find interesting is you can play that game historically. This is a historic game of telephone. So you go through history, and all of them have the same kind of story with slight variations. Noah's Ark, Epics of Gilgamesh, the Egyptian origin story, Atlantis for the Greeks, the Great Flood. The Hopi Indians talk about it. Aztecs, Incas, Mayans, Olmecs. All of these civilizations talk about the exact same thing. They have the exact same symbology, and we're supposed to believe that that's a coincidence. And I find that fucking absurd. The more I look into it, the more I realize that without a doubt, we know this scientifically now, a massive cataclysm hit.
Hey, y'all support the channel, man. Don't let Ivy be the only one support the channel, y'all. Y'all support the channel too. Let me change my banner out and put my initial one on. All right. Go back and get it cracking. Oh, shit. Went too far.
Each other. We weren't supposed to be able to reach each other. There's this helping hand, and I call it a helping hand. I get that from Graham Hancock, because what I find interesting about the helping hand is, if you ever play a game of telephone, you tell someone a word and then 20 people down, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
A little, usually much different.
Yeah.
But there's always variations of the truth in the lie. And what I find interesting is you can play that game historically. This is a historic game of telephone. So you go through history, and all of them have the same kind of story with slight variations. Noah's Ark, Epics of Gilgamesh, the Egyptian origin story, Atlantis for the Greeks, the Great Flood. The Hopi Indians talk about it. Aztecs, Incas, Mayans, Olmecs. All of these civilizations talk about the exact same thing. They have the exact same symbology, and we're supposed to believe that.
And the reason they have it is because somebody taught them this. Because I can go to one particular place, this is for another discussion. You can find that all these symbolism and cosmology and understanding has already have an understanding when it lands in these other places in the Eastern Hemisphere. It's already there. It's already revered. It's already established understanding. There's no growth. There's no change. You see what I'm saying? So what you find is that it's someone brought this and educated them. And you can go to another civilization and simply see how these people show you the growth. They show you the growth. You understand me? Drop some fire emojis in the chat, man, if y'all feeling this build, man. Shout out to the brother Ryan L. Wise for the Cash App donation. Say appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you and your support. I mean, I appreciate you just watching the video and taking the information. So hit the like button, and I appreciate you for your Cash App donation once again. Shout out to the brother Ryan L. Wise. Shout out to the brother Ryan L. Wise. Y'all support the channel, y'all. Let's get it.
That's a coincidence. And I find that fucking absurd. The more I look into it, the more I realize that without a doubt, we know this scientifically now, a massive cataclysm hit around the Younger Dryas period that wiped out most of the Earth. Yes. An asteroid hit around Greenland.
Well, that's not confirmed for sure, but we know that the Younger Dryas happened at a certain time. They know it was an impact area or affected area, which would have been north of Minnesota. Anywhere north of Minnesota, he's saying Greenland, which is his own theory, but it's north of Minnesota is where it would have occurred. You know what I'm saying? This information I've been putting out for the last 4 years.
Yeah, the Hiawatha crater. And it caused waters to rise dramatically high, wipe out everything in the world. Yes. And so you have Noah landing on Mount Ararat in modern-day Turkey, and right next to it you find Göbekli Tepe, these creepy, demonic-looking underground cities called Derinkuyu, which I've also explored in the Middle East.
What are these underground?
Oh, man. So if anyone looks up Derinkuyu, your mind is going to be blown. Deren. Kuyu.
Dude, you're good. You should be on the show just for the name, saying everybody's last name.
Yeah.
Dude, you're killing it.
But one of the most amazing things about this place is that I crawled through the city. We're talking 18 stories, about 20,000 people can fit in it. No one knows how old it is, but the chisel marks at the top show that it could be as far back as 12,000 years old, to a time when people weren't even able to farm. They weren't even able to get together as a community and get food. I mean, it's crazy that we're expected to believe that they were able to do this unless civilization was more advanced. And this underground city is massive, and it's connected to almost 250 other underground cities from the top of Turkey by the Black Sea all the way through into Syria. And it's amazing. And
Mesopotamia area, huh?
Exactly, right in between the Tigris and Euphrates, right where Noah's Ark was. And so I climbed through these underground tunnels. Some of them are...
Nobody even knows where Noah's Ark is because it's a fake story. It's a story about civilization barely surviving after the flood. That's all it is. Barely. And not only that, repopulating the world, not literally with literal people, but with advance of civilization.
Are 2 feet high, so I'm crawling on my chest and digging my way through there.
So they were little people.
Well, that's the crazy thing. You go through these tunnels, it reminds me of the Nephilim. You go through these tunnels and it's zigzagging, and suddenly it enters into this room where the ceiling is like 6 stories high, massive archways, and the stairs are each like 2.5 feet high. Wow. And it's like, so you go from what looks like tiny, little people fitting through there to this room where it looks like giants were living. It's insane, and it doesn't make any sense at all, and it's just pushed to the side by the mainstream archaeological community, and it's right by Göbekli Tepe, the most important ancient site in the world.
Why is that the most important ancient site in the world?
Well, we're told that civilization started around 3000 BC. And, they said the city of Troy was a myth, Homer's Troy. Then they recently found it. And then they found out it's actually much older. It goes back about 4000 BC. And this is a huge city. And they were told that, ancient Egypt around 3000 BC, Stonehenge around 3000 BC. All these places, they refuse to push it any further back. They're like, well, it doesn't make sense for it to be before that. So we'll just conveniently put 3000 BC on it.
Let me ask you something, dude. What we're talking about is conspiracy here. There is a conspiracy to basically control the knowledge of how long we've been here and maybe where we come from. Yeah. And you've mentioned Freemasons before. Why are they doing this? Why do you think they're, and what are they covering?
Oh, man. If you want to get real macro, I'll tell you, because
we got all day,
all right.
brother.
So I have a belief that human beings are just the flesh vessels of a far greater consciousness.
We're fleshlights?
To some. Not maybe you. I'm no fleshlight, dude. But
Johnny.
But so I believe that our brains are essentially antennas that absorb frequency. Everything's made up of frequency. The Egyptians knew this. The ancient civilizations knew this, and they performed
everything's
that.
Frequency. What do you mean? Energy?
Everything is a form of frequency.
Energy?
Your table, energy. Your laptop,
it's
your
a program
brain.
almost. Would you say?
Absolutely. Well, I don't know about program, but because program would mean that an individual or something has programmed it. I'm not sure about that, but what I do know is that everything is frequency. The light in the room is frequency. Everything you see with your eyes is pertaining to radio frequencies that you're absorbing through pigmentation, through different sources of light. Your brain is an antenna. And like any computer, there's the $200 shit laptop that you get at Walmart, or you get a macro computer that you can lift off rockets with. I mean, quantum computing. There's differences. Some people are smarter. Some people are not as smart. You have the ability to absorb this frequency in your brain, and then your brain acts as a computer to analyze data and break it down into bullet points for you to absorb. But no scientist can really explain consciousness itself. And that's why I'm led to believe, you look at all these ancient civilizations, they kind of allude to it, that these bodies are just a thing that we're using as a vehicle in order to, analyze data in this realm dimension.
Yeah, dude. We've been doing a lot of these episodes lately, and it's like we get different people coming on, and it's all, and I mean in a loving way, they're all got the same points here, man. Well, it's all like, I don't mean it being, it's like, it's all the pieces of the puzzles are coming together.
Right. Well, I want to ask you then, so everyone kind of puts themselves in their body in a certain way. You don't see yourself from your hands. You don't see yourself from your feet. You look at your hands like you're in a possession of your hands. But where do you actually see yourself from? Where do you situate yourself within your body? Is it in your eyes, between the eyes, a little bit further back behind the eyes, maybe an inch or so?
That's such an interesting question. Where do you see yourself from?
Where are you? most people say it's about 2 inches behind their eyes, between their eyes.
Yeah, I could see that for sure, man.
Right where the pineal gland is.
Very interesting, dude. I've also have memories that are from outer. My memory is from out of body. That's the memory, and it's one very specific. Always plays in my head is me walking through the door, not from the room that you entered my house that I grew up in into the living room. I always remember me walking in, and it's the memory is of me outside myself.
Right. A lot of people see that. A lot of people have said that they've died and have been able to literally give a perfect description of what's in the next room, a room in a hospital that they've never been in. Graham Hancock talks about this in his book, Magicians of the Gods, where he goes into dying and coming back to life up outside of his body and then coming back to life, and that's what made him a spiritual person, as he was an atheist until he saw that. And a lot of people say that's your mind playing tricks on you, but there's too many similarities between people's experiences when they die for it to be anything, for it to be a coincidence. I don't buy that. But I do want to...
Going back to you talking about 2 inches behind the pineal gland, what were you trying to get at that point? What do you think that represents?
Well, I think that it represents us. We see the ancient civilizations, Egyptians, Sumerians, the Aztecs, Incas, Mayans, Olmecs, all these civilizations talking about the pineal gland. I mean, a lot of people claim that Osiris, the Egyptian god, who was a couple down from Ra, the original god in Egypt, that he saw, or his hat, his crown, is actually the shape of a pineal gland. If you go around the world, anywhere you go, in big religious centers, you'll find giant pine cones. You'll see statues of guys holding a little bag and then it's installing a pine cone in what they call the tree of life. There's bird creatures, there's ibis creatures, there's all sorts of different beings that seem to have this same similarity. Pine cones at the Vatican, there's the biggest pine cone statue in the world is right there at the Vatican.
Unbelievable.
Right next to the Egyptian exhibit, by the way. And it is the weirdest looking thing I've ever seen. Not because it's just a pine cone, but at the bottom you have two lions that tells a story of a cataclysm. And then inside the building you have, and it's very strange, I did a video on the Vatican where I kind of piece this together. It's very out of place. There's a Greek exhibit at the Vatican, and there's an Egyptian one. What's weird was that they overlapped in one spot, and then they continued to show Egyptian stuff. So they show in one area Thoth, the wisdom god that carried on the information of the flood that wiped out civilization, on both sides, and then in the middle you have Zeus. Zeus was the one wiped out Atlantis. The connection is very interesting. You have the Great Flood. You have Zeus, you have Thoth. Both these gods tell the same story in a different civilization, and they don't note anything in the Vatican about this. They just put these statues together, and it's almost like they're mocking us. They're like, we know something, we're putting it in broad daylight for everyone to see, but you guys have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, slaves. I agree, dude. I believe in it. Do you have any thoughts on Anunnaki and where that fits in everything? Are you an Anunnaki guy?
Well, I mean, there's many different words for it. I'm not sure 100% about Anunnaki. I felt like it when I was in Darinkuyu in that underground city. I felt like I was in
a giant man amongst tiny people.
I felt like there was some kind of underground civilization that was not human when I was there. They call it the Nephilim too. There's a lot of different words for it. I'm not sure what I think about that entirely because I've found no physical evidence, but I know that there's a lot of physical evidence that's been covered up by the Vatican, by the Smithsonian, by multiple museums around the world, the Louvre in Paris. I mean, the amount of information that's hidden from us right now is ridiculous. The inventory stela from Egypt, which talks about how these Egyptian gods, Isis, found the Sphinx already in place when she came there and built around it, and that it was already existing from a previous civilization.
Right. You got the construction of the Egyptian Sphinx by the Queen of Mu. You got that book.
Okay, Atlantis. That was right there, and they called it myth, but a stela right next to it with another story that was slightly different. They said that was fact because they pick what's fact and they pick what's fiction, and then they tell everyone it and repeat after me. Simon Says. Everyone, endorses their stupor and reveres their chains.
And people think it's impossible to control the information. It is not, man. When you have a group at the top that's been in control for a very long time, and they control all the money, and therefore bought all the means in which to spread the information. Right. I mean, like, the Catholic Church is probably one of the most brilliant things ever, because it's like, let's not send armies everywhere. Let's just let's just franchise. We'll franchise all over the place. We'll control these people. A lot of these people are put in positions of power because they have been blackmailed into doing what they're told. They have it on everybody. At the highest levels, you don't get there unless they got something on you and you have something on them.
Yeah.
And they control the information, you know, and they just and they control what we know, and they hide what we don't know.
I was watching my back a lot when I was at the Vatican, because I was simultaneously doing a report on how they found a bunch of bones of children under the Vatican recently.
Yeah.
And I went to go report on it, and I'm like outside in St. Peter's Square, right at the giant Egyptian obelisk again. Here we go. One of the biggest obelisks in the world, put there by, I believe, Caligula.
It's there, City of London, and Washington, D.C. Now, I'm mistaken. Is it Washington, D.C., or is it where the UN is that the other...
Well, they have, obviously, the Washington Monument is one thing. As for actual Egyptian obelisks, they have them in Rome, Paris, they have them in Turkey, in Istanbul, they have them in Greece, in Athens, they have them in New York City, in Central Park.
So he's just confirming a lot of shit that we already talked about, too. Let's be real. Drop some fire emojis in the chat if y'all feeling the bill, man. Let's keep it going.
Really strange. Alex Jones went into it like 10 years.
Something on them.
Yeah.
And they control the information, you know, and they just and they control what we know, and they hide what we don't know.
I was watching my back a lot when I was at the Vatican, because I was simultaneously doing a report on how they found a bunch of bones of children under the Vatican recently.
Yeah.
And I went to go report on it, and I'm like outside in St. Peter's Square, right at the giant Egyptian obelisk again. Here we go. One of the biggest obelisks in the world, put there by, I believe, Caligula.
It's there, City of London and Washington, D.C. Now, I'm mistaken. Is it Washington, D.C., or is it where the UN is that the other...
Well, they have, obviously, the Washington Monument is one thing. As for actual Egyptian obelisks, they have them in Rome, Paris. They have them in Turkey, in Istanbul. They have them in Greece, in Athens. They have them in New York City, in Central Park, very hidden away. It was one of the first big monuments in Central Park. No one knows about it. It's deep in the bush, and they have an actual ancient Egyptian obelisk that was sent over from Egypt, standing right in the middle of Central Park, and no one ever talks about it. They have it in the City of London as well, and obviously the Vatican. But anywhere you go in the world, if you have these Freemasonic temples that we call government buildings, everywhere you go, you'll find these obelisks. I grew up in Winnipeg, Canada. We have one of the biggest Freemasonic temples in the world, and it's our legislative building. And it's a giant building with an echo chamber with rooms that only the Queen's allowed in. Creepy
Queen
stuff.
Elizabeth?
Yeah, you got the 5-point stars in there. You got Medusa above the stairs, 13 steps, 13 steps, 13 steps all the way up in the
Oh
Grand
my
Hall.
God.
And you have this obelisk statue out in the front of the building. One says past and it says peace. The next one says present and it says United Nations. And the third one says future and it says Queen Elizabeth or the Queen's crest on the top of it. And no one has ever explained what that means, but it's really strange. Alex Jones went into it like 10 years ago and made it kind of famous, but it is a weird thing that no one ever talks about.
What? Where is Queen Elizabeth in the power rankings, the hierarchy of the world? I mean, 13 families, Jesuits, the banking cabal, City of London. You know, it's like she can't just enter the City of London. There's a whole thing that goes on.
She's not that powerful. She's controlled. I mean, she is basically part of a cult ritual. Her whole life is a ritual. And she's supposed to represent God, which is a blasphemy for anyone out there that might be Christian. The notion of Queen Elizabeth representing God while children get raped by her family members, and they cover things up on BBC and on ABC News, Disney, all those things.
Oh yeah.
And but she doesn't have that much power. Every single day she's given a red box, and she has to sign papers. She just signs papers. She goes to over 400 public functions a year, so that's more than once a day. Her life sounds miserable. She has all this money, but what do you do with the money when you're bossed around and told to go from place to place? I think she's just part of a huge cabal type ritual cult.
House of Windsor.
Yeah, the House of Windsor was created in 1917, I believe, after their name was Saxe-Coburg Gotha. And what was interesting about that is that there was a huge hate on Germans in Britain at the time. They were raiding businesses, breaking windows, killing Germans in the street. And then the royal family is German. So King George V changed the name of the family to Windsor due to one of his advisors advising him on it, because Windsor just sounded like a uniform name that seemed nice and all that kind of stuff. And in that time, the Tsar of Russia, his cousin, was about to be let go by the USSR and by the Leninist October Revolution. They were going to let him go into a safe haven in London. And his cousin, King George V, turned him down and made him stay there. And he got slaughtered with his whole family. And then the communist uprising begun right after that. This family does not even take care of their own. They cast
they're
out
brutal,
Edward.
dude.
Yeah.
They killed Princess Di.
Yeah.
They'll slaughter you in a heartbeat, dude.
I went to confront Prince Charles about 8 years ago.
What?
And
What?
What happened was I have a sister that's very young. Doesn't have the same name as me, but she's very young. And at the time she was very, very young. And my whole thing is I've never heard of anyone confronting Prince Charles. And there might be a reason for that. And knowing how they react to children, I just decided I'm just not going to do it. It was one of the only times ever that I looked at someone that I could confront. I just said, I'm not going to do it because I don't want anything happening to my family, But anyway, I do want to kind of pull back as much as possible because you mentioned earlier, you asked me about Göbekli Tepe and why it's such an important
I want to
place.
hear about it all, brother.
Yeah, and I do want to get back to that because I never quite got to the point.
Welcome
there.
to tinfoil hat.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't even smoke weed today. But so what I wanted to talk about with Göbekli Tepe is the reason why it's the most important ancient site that we know of in the world is because we have this mantra of everything being from about 3,000 BC or sooner. And they found in the 60s this place on a farm where these stones were coming out of the surface, and they started digging deeper. And they found out that this site they still have only dug up 5% of it. This site is about 7,000 years older than Stonehenge. It's about the time of the Younger Dryas period when this cataclysm happened. And it's this massive ring or circle of stones with T-shaped pillars that have engravings on it. Not just engravings, actually they're cut out of the engravings. So it's like statues coming off of these things. These are people that couldn't farm. These are people that had no ability to build anything, yet they built a better structure than Stonehenge by 1,000 times. And I went there recently. It is unbelievable because, again, 95% is still underground. They started really digging in the early 90s, around 1992, and they still barely scratch the surface. They've destroyed parts of the site by putting up, a museum around it and stuff like that. And it's shaped like a pregnant woman's stomach. And I believe that it's a physical stone formation, a version, a representation of the Noah's Ark, spreading the seeds of humanity, spreading the knowledge of humanity. It's tied to the Cygnus constellation and in parts to Orion's belt, like we see in Egypt, like we see in the Americas. And they're just these massive stone pillars. The deeper you go down, the better they are. And around 8600 BC, these people, for no reason that we know of, just decided to bury it in mud, making carbon dating perfect. So they just buried this thing on purpose and made a giant hill that they call Potbelly Hill now, Göbekli Tepe. And because Tepe is hill in Turkish. And so it's an amazing site. And I went there and it changed everything we thought about ancient civilizations. But one thing I noticed was no one's talking about the dozens of other places that have T-shaped pillars all around the region. So I drove into the middle of nowhere, no internet, in the hills of Turkey, into some farmland. And I found this farmer. I did a video on it. It's called Karahan Tepe.
You are the best, dude.
And there's a site that is possibly twice as big as Göbekli Tepe there that nobody knows about. And there's T-shaped pillars jutting out of the surface. I went up to them. I was touching them. I was seeing these things coming out of the surface. Massive, T-shaped pillars. And I'm like, nobody knows about this stuff. There's a reason, because it literally shuts down every theory that we have about ancient civilization, sets us back 6,000 or 7,000 more years, which basically blows a hole in every theory about ancient civilizations. You'd have to change every textbook, and they know that. So I think there's a cover up on one side. There's a small group of people that is covering it up. And then on the other side of it, it's a bunch of stubborn scientists that aren't willing to look at new data and are only just repeating the mantra of 150, 200 years ago because they want to keep their jobs. And that is one of the most destructive things we have to finding truths around the world and the origins of human civilization. I think it's unbelievably important. What you have up on the screen there is Mount Nemrut, which is close by. It's a giant grave on top of a mountain. I went there as well, did a show on that.
Dude.
King Antiochus called himself a god and then deified himself with all the Greek gods of the time. It was a big cult.
This is all over just because they don't want to change old textbooks that are still old in hhy schools?
Well, yeah, they don't want to change textbooks. They don't want to admit that literally every single they don't want to.
I don't want to rewrite the books.
They don't want to admit that they've been wrong. They've been looked at as,
or are they doing it on purpose? Are they don't want, they're purposely trying not to let us know how special we are.
There's a group of people that's doing that. I 100%, but I also know, I don't think all, obviously most archaeologists aren't part of a cover up. I mean, not willingly anyway. They're just stubborn. They don't want to ruin their career. They worked hard. They worked years to become what they are. And now if they come out and talk about this stuff, their career is destroyed. Look at Robert Schoch. Dr. Robert Schoch is a geologist. And he essentially blew the lid off of the Sphinx. The Sphinx was said to have been built around, the 2500 BC, around that period. But he found with water erosion around the enclosure that this site was more than likely built as between 12,000 BC and 6,000 BC, which blows. It's previous to the dynastic Egyptians. It's previous to their whole civilization. The head was carved down later. It was repaired around the time of 2500 BC. Is that something that you do if it was brand new? They put bricks on it. You could see water erosion all around the enclosure. And it was shocking. He went to the American Geological Society. He got a standing ovation. He got awards for it. And everyone ignored him and called him crazy. And yet he was basically, any geologist that you show those formations to will say that it's water erosion. Water erosion is bulbous. It looks like the rock is dripping downward as a sediment that's weaker falls out as water runs over it through thousands of years. Wind erosion is straight lines. It blows out certain layers of the rock that's weaker with wind, but those are straight lines. We see at the Sphinx bulbous formations that prove 100% that it was rained on. But wait a second, it's in the Sahara Desert. It's on the edge of the Sahara Desert in Egypt. I mean, how does that happen? They haven't had major rainfall since 6,000 BC. And before someone asks, no, if the Nile flooded the Sphinx, it would not cause that kind of formation because it would be underwater. The formations we see on the Sphinx are from rain going down it and eating away at the sediment over thousands of years. What we know about the Sphinx is that there are so many renovations on it. The Romans renovated it, and the best, most preserved part of the body, though it's missing its nose, is the head. But the head was the only thing sticking out of the sand for about 90% of its existence, because it takes a few years for sand to cover it up to the neck if it isn't maintained on a daily basis. So it was covered up to the neck for thousands of years. And we're told to believe that this water erosion happened under the sand over thousands of years of no rain. It makes no sense. So that is what blew the lid off of it. He came out about that. And then almost directly after he came out about that, they found Göbekli Tepe. And it just confirmed everything he was talking about. In 2008, they finally admitted that the Younger Dryas happened. There was a great flood around 12,000 BC. Around the time of the Younger Dryas. Science is confirming it. Ancient civilizations confirm it. And then you have no choice but bringing that back to Atlantis. You have Atlantis, Noah's Ark, Gilgamesh. How many stories can we possibly have before people say,
I just want to get y'all opinion, man. How y'all feeling out here? Y'all enjoying the build? If you're enjoying the build, drop some fire emojis in the chat. If you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe button, like button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. And don't forget to hit the like button. This is Aboriginal Power, and this is the Wake and Bake Show, man. So let's get it, man. Hopefully y'all feeling it. Drop some fire emojis in the chat just to let me know that y'all feeling it, and we can get right back to it, man. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Hopefully we good out here. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
there's more evidence of this than the claims made by the academics for the last 200 years. What are we missing? And you're not allowed to go looking for what we're missing, which is what I do.
You know, it's very interesting because you see it in comedy right now where it's like nobody wants to rock the boat. And with the internet, that's kind of allowed people to a little more freedom, right? You know, it's like me. I'm just like lighting up people and nothing's happening to me because I have a pirate ship and I have, you know, two guys on the pirate ship with me and it's pretty wonderful.
Oh, what happened to Ari?
I mean, technically, Ari had may or may not, depending on who you talk to, had a Netflix special taken away, right?
It's a terrible joke, but he has every right to tell it.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
The problem is that, you know, everybody throws out the rule of law when it's something that affects you, right? You know, I mean, this is the second time in a year that a podcast, and it's one particular podcast, Punch Drunk, has been affected by somebody saying something involving somebody who's passed away. And that people dub that the worst joke ever told in the history of time. And they want to scorch the earth. Now, I will tell you, the joke didn't land. People go, there wasn't anything funny about it. I go, well, you don't know the joke. I don't think it's a good joke. I mean, like, death is very, like, I mean, it's very sad. You know, I will take Ari's word on it that he did not know that the daughter was on there. Right. Ari's joke is that, you know, whenever somebody passes, there is a almost overreaction of Paul Bunyan type extremes of what the greatness these people did. And you know, we could discuss Kobe.
We see that all the time in elementary schools these days. I have a young sister, and I mean, that Juice World guy dies. No one knows who this guy is. He dies. Everyone's like, R.I.P. Juice World, and everyone's just hashtag R.I.P. Juice World. I'm like, who is this guy?
Right.
Nobody knows him. Just because you don't know him, honky boy, shut the fuck up. Say none of your business. Wondering who the hell Juice World is, and you talking about everybody tweet, because everybody knew him that tweeted him, except for you, white man. Stay in your place, hunky.
He has like tattoos on his face and shit. I mean, like, who is this guy?
That's what Ari does.
Yeah.
He reacts the other way.
Yeah.
He just, and you know, when you're an edgelord,
You gotta stay in your place, honkies. That'll get the motherfucker slapped the fuck up real quick.
If I give everyone permission to make the worst fucking jokes in the world when I die, because you know what's worse than laughing at someone after they die is crying and being sad. We have a short life. You know, we should remember people with happiness, and we should remember people with a laugh every now and then. I don't want to go to my own funeral and see everyone crying and falling over crying and stuff. I understand why it happens. I mean, I've lost people in my life. Obviously, we all have.
Oh yeah, dude, we just lost our friend Brody. A year ago, we were just like destroyed, and it's just, and it sucks because I gotta be one of the guys like Luis Gomez, me, and a couple who have to be the bad guy and go, okay, everybody calm down.
Yeah,
we have to defend comedians that nobody else wants to defend because they're so worried. And as an actor, I understand it. I mean, people are gonna go crazy, but an actor has to get so many green lights to get a gig. It just takes one person going, fuck that guy because I didn't like that joke.
Dude.
I don't want your gigs, so I got this partnership. I'm going to go defend comedy. Even jokes I don't like, I defend. But I want to get back to Atlantis.
Yeah.
Atlantis is very interesting. Is that the oldest of civilization? Is there something that is predate?
Yeah, white boy was doing good. You know what I mean? Staying on the info. He veered out his lane. Smack the fuck out that white boy. Get your ass back in that goddamn line, nigga.
Atlantis that we know.
Well, I think there's a lot of evidence. I mean, the Denisovan people, there's evidence going back 60,000 years of really great technology, stone carving technology. But with that said, Atlantis, in my opinion, is just a city in an empire, a global empire, if you will, or somewhat global at least. We're talking maybe the technological abilities of the late 1800s, not like spaceships, but I think they were able to harness different kinds of technology, vibrational technology, lifting huge stones with vibrations. And, and that's what I believe the obelisks that we see are today. They're tuning forks, just like the pyramids. And the reason I say that is they were carved into and graffitied later on. People carved all this, all these hieroglyphs into these tuning forks, and the ones that weren't carved up and weren't destroyed, if you hit it with a spoon on one end, it vibrates perfectly to the top. You can use cloud chambers. It's been done before to use this kind of vibration to lift pebbles. If you can do that on a greater scale, you can do that with the rocks that build the pyramids.
Wow.
But with that said, we think of Rome as the city of Rome and an empire. Rome was based, obviously, the city of Rome, and then later on Constantinople became the capital of the Roman Empire. But the Roman Empire was a huge empire that spread out through multiple countries today, all the way down through Africa as well. And it was absolutely an insanely large civilization. And that's what I find interesting is that I think the same about Atlantis. Atlantis was a city, sure, but it was a main city within an empire. That empire, you don't have to call it Atlantis. You can call it the homeland of the primeval ones, as the Egyptians called it.
The primeval ones?
The primeval ones, yeah.
What does that mean?
Primordial, primeval, the first people, the epoch, the people that basically spread the information to them. We see that at the Edfu building texts in Egypt, which I'll give them this. They were carved out after Plato spoke of Atlantis. However, the city that they describe is the exact same thing as Atlantis, the exact same circular structure. And earlier writings by the ancient Egyptians before Plato talked about an island that the civilization once came from, the snake people. And these snake people.
Who are the snake? Are they the
delivered the
reptilians?
information. Yeah. Well, I don't know about. So I've spent a lot of time.
Talk to me, dude.
So there's a lot of different ways you could talk about it. You could call it intergalactic or interdimensional space demons. I mean, that's what Alex Jones calls it. I think it's possible. I think that there are people that can come from other dimensions. I don't think of them as aliens, like they live on another planet, like ancient aliens and stuff like that. I think of them as more of an energy force or a consciousness or a knowledge. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at things like I've spent a lot of time with David Icke. I've interviewed him. I've hung out with him in his hotel room for a couple hours talking about stuff. And while he does sound like the most batshit crazy person you'll ever talk to, I think he's onto something with the reptilian thing. I just wouldn't call it reptilians. I think reptilians.
What
is a bad
would you
word.
call them? Snake people?
Well, I wouldn't call them any of that. I mean, I honestly don't know what to call them, but I know snake or reptile people gives it a bad look. I think people just think, Justin Bieber is shape-shifting on YouTube. Check out this video. And I'm like, no, that just discredits us. There's a serious level of information that backs up the idea of some kind of other being that is in one way or another manipulating the people on Earth and perhaps enslaving the people on Earth even. There's Gnostic scriptures that talk about how the Garden of Eden was actually a slave plantation in which people essentially lived on the slave plantation and were enforced by Satan was God, and God was what they now call Satan, and they switched it in our minds so that we worship the.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
What's up is really down. You don't believe that?
I'm not sure. I'm saying that it's an interesting theory, and I look into it. I'm very cautious about all that kind of stuff because I also know that there are certain people out there that have been trying to manipulate our minds to be very anti-Christian over the last several decades. Everyone has this gut.
Are you Christian?
Impulse. I am not, but everyone has a gut impulse. If you walk into a room and you see a picture of Jesus on the wall, the first thing is to scoff, like, what do you believe in Jesus or something? And the guy will be like, well, I just think he was a cool guy. And then you have to think, well, why did I have that reaction? What's been ingrained in my brain to have that initial just gut reaction every time I see something like that?
That is very interesting, and I agree with that. What we've had discussions on who Jesus was, what all that. But if you believe in Jesus, believe in that. Whatever makes you a good person. But this goes back to them. This group of people, whoever they are, the 13 families who made a deal with these demons in another realm, whatever it is, they want us not to know how special we are.
The Catholic Church is good at that.
Well, they're part of it. The
Yeah.
Jesuits, the 13 families, and the international banking cabal, they're all part of this thing. They don't want us to know how old we are. They don't want us to know whatever we live on, whether it's a round ball, and we're not getting into flat earth, a round ball, believe whatever you want. I hope it's flat just for the chaos, okay?
Well, we only use 80% of our brain. We have to remember that we are underprivileged as far as the use of our brain. We could be a lot smarter than we are, and there's something that's stopping us from utilizing that naturally. But the Catholic Church worships a lot of these demonic entities that I speak of. They practically push the symbolism of the Gnostics everywhere at a bunch of Catholic churches. They certainly do at the Vatican. They do through all of Rome and Greece as well. I mean, there's definitely they somehow worship this entity in one way or another, the same thing that the Freemasons seem obsessed with. So I'm not sure if they're the people or those are the entities that any of us should be, dropping on our knees for. The thing is, I study the occult a lot, and unfortunately there is a trend lately of people not just studying the occult, but then worshiping the occult. They worship an eye with a pyramid, or a pyramid with an eye. They actually start to believe in these entities as gods. I've noticed a lot of that in recent years. Paganism, that kind of stuff.
Well, are we talking like within Hollywood and into like pop culture?
Well, certainly in Hollywood. Yeah,
well, it's like very interesting. Growing up, you would, I got the 80s. You saw like Ozzy and all this stuff, and they'd be like, "Shout at the devil." Not that Ozzy didn't sing that song, but but the bands that did, Motley Crue, Shot the Devil, and all that stuff, and the Christians would come out and be like, they're Satan worshiping. You'd be like, shut up, crazy old guy. You're just trying to ruin our fun. But now, as a crazy old guy, I see, like, in hip hop, it's like really prevalent, dude. Like,
Civil War disputed country and Mauritania. This is right by the minefield. We're surrounded by landmines. There's raw sewage running in the back behind the hostel. I got the nicest room in the place, and everyone else was sleeping in the front lobby. But I'm like some stupid Westerner, so I come out there. I'm like, yeah, $20 because we missed the border because they close it at 6 p.m. It's all in my documentary, but we go into this hostel and pay $20 for this room with Hello Kitty pillows. One of us is sleeping on the floor, and all fucking night I was waking up with cockroaches on my face. They're trying to crawl up my nose or in my eye, and I'm picking them off and throwing them across the room. I could hear them hit the wall. There's some weird jumping, biting beetle thing in there.
That's the baller room?
That's the nicest room in the place, and it's there. I could smell the raw sewage. There's a mosque literally through a window. There's a tiny window, and there's a mosque. And all night, I'm hearing Muslim prayer, and I'm like, I am so out of my comfort zone right now. And but I went through that, and then I come, and there's a hole in the floor for a bathroom, and there's a little tap that pours out drizzles of yellow water that he splashed in her face. That's her shower. But everyone's happy. There's a guy literally standing next to me like he's in a fucking UNESCO commercial with flies on his face, like 5 of them. He's not even swatting them away. He's just standing there with flies on his face. Then I come back to the United States after, and it drove me crazy because I have nothing against my girlfriend. I love her very much. But we went to a hotel in Montana. We were driving across the country, and there was no hot water in this place. They just didn't have hot water. And she comes out. She's so mad. She's like, there's no hot water. What are we paying for? This is bullshit. Why are we? And I'm like, but there's water, isn't there? I mean, you can wash your face. Yeah, it's shitty, but
it's so funny. I just had twins, and I'm reading to them, and I'm reading this book of accusations, right?
Yeah.
Actualization.
Actualization.
Actualization. Thank you. And I'm reading them the book, and what you're talking about is what this whole Hindu thing is all about, which is the basically escape materialism.
Mm-hmm.
Well, get back to simplicity. And what a real big thing is helping others.
Right.
Like that is like at its core, what this whole thing, whatever we're at right now, whatever we're doing right now, wherever we're living on, the thing is we are here to learn to help others.
Right.
And when you talk about the people who live in nothing minus material wealth and how happy they are, and then you look at the people here, I mean, there is a reason why we see the richest of rich, their children, train wrecks, drug addicts, because it's all material wealth.
Well, that goes back to that Roman quote. It goes like hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times, and the children of the mega rich are in the weak men period. They had good times and they created weak men, and so you find them on drugs, getting into horrible situations for themselves. Look at Michael Douglas's son. I mean, that guy went to jail for years. He did some pretty terrible stuff for a long time. He grew up in that kind of, mindset.
Steven Spielberg's daughter is like, listen, I know adult film stars.
Yeah.
I met a lot of them born into worlds of shit. And, I mean, this is a weird way to look at it, but it's almost like pro athletes getting out of the ghetto by being great at a sport. Some of these girls come from the worst of the worst, and this job they do allows them to get out of the poverty. Now, I don't agree with it. Do I want my daughters doing it? No, of course not.
Well, I want to note something here you got on the screen. If you could go back for a second and reload that picture that was on the screen there on Fox News. This is really fucked up right there. Yeah.
It won't show
it won't show it. But what's kind of crazy is like there's the picture that they use. There it is. The picture they've been using of Steven Spielberg's daughter on all these things about her being a porn star. That picture is her when she was like 13 or 14. Isn't that kind of fucked up? She's not 13 or 14 anymore. I think she's 27. All the pictures they keep showing of her are her as a kid. I find that kind of fucking weird too.
I mean, it's only weird if you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And that totally makes sense to me. I mean, like allegedly who Steven Spielberg really is very dark and very ugly. And listen, dude, listen, man. I get porn is not. I mean, like porn has had its negative effects on my life. I've been cutting it out. I don't want to watch it anymore. You know, but just because something is to me has done detriment to me, I don't believe we should, like drugs. Like I don't do drugs, but because drugs have had a negative effect on my life.
Right.
But I believe that drugs should not be illegal because it's just a way to send poor people to jail.
And it just gives more power to an organized crime racket we call government. But I want to note that it's there. I mean, porn, while it desensitizes people and all that, I think it also probably has saved a few lives from people that are completely batshit crazy and they just watch porn instead of walking down alleyways and looking for women. So I think there's also an upside to it as well. I do want to, yeah. I mean, let's be real. I mean, how many like creepy old men have been sitting around and thinking of doing terrible things and watch porn instead? I think it's probably saved a few lives.
You know, I mean, it's just like, you know, I have on this show, there's a blessing that there's a large conservative group of people watch show, and I'm very thankful for them. Again, it goes back to what we're talking about with these golden rule. If you know, a rule is I want people out of my life. I want the government out of my life. I want people to live their lives, okay? And they have the right to live their life how that is, and that includes fucking their life up.
Yeah.
And it sucks to say that, because I've seen people fuck their lives up.
Right.
But we can't start making rules against things that we don't like and then get mad when people try to make rules against us and how we live our life, man. And the best thing you can do is people who are addicted to these things is help them get out of their addiction. Again, help people. It's not making laws outlawing these things, because those things never work. Show me one thing that's been outlawed that went away. It doesn't.
Yeah.
The only thing that happens is you throw poor people in jail.
Of course. And I mean, also on top of that, I mean, when you set these kinds of precedents, you end up allowing some crime racket that the government has killed more people than any other entity, pollutes more than any other entity. We expect these guys to be the moral harbinger of good and you know, save people from themselves. I'm a big believer. I'm a big believer in individuals just taking care of themselves. Freedom and responsibility are the same thing. It's synonymous. All freedom is responsibility. All freedom is just taking care of yourself and not expecting other people to take care of you. It's very, very simple. But with that said, like, I'm an anarchist. I don't believe in governments at all. But when it comes down to it, people will always organize and they'll find a way to organize. For me, as long as it's voluntary and they're not putting guns to my head. I mean, we're talking about governments that go around the world. Ultimate power corrupts, absolutely. They've killed millions of people in Iraq, and they've killed millions of people throughout the world. And in this fight against terrorism, well, who's a terrorist? Them or the guys that they armed and funded over there that they're fighting?
Or like, and you know, our war of independence against the British. Who's a terrorist in that whole thing?
Yeah,
I hate to tell you, the British looked at us like we were the terrorists.
Yeah,
it's perspective. We are over there. It's the best way to stop our sons and daughters from being hurt is getting them out of there.
But that doesn't benefit the state, though. At the end of the day, the state benefits most from the most chaos, order out of chaos. And what they're doing is think of it this way. They helped prop up Hitler against the Communist Party. Then they helped prop up the USSR against Hitler. Then they armed and funded the Mujahideen against the USSR. They armed and funded the Iraqi Ba'athist Party against Iran. They armed and funded the Ho Chi Minh through FDR in the 1930s into the 40s, and then it turned into the Vietnam War. They blew up their own tankers in order to go to those wars. They killed millions and millions of people, and we're supposed to look at them as the guys that'll fix the fucking problem they created in the first place. And what they are doing is terrorism, plain and simple. There's nothing more terroristic than spreading fear, spreading ideology by fear, and by doing that, killing millions.
So I just want to give y'all that little video right quick, because if you listen to a lot of shit he's saying, y'all that been around and that watch my channel, that's very familiar with my channel, knows that he's spitting the same shit I'm saying, almost verbatim, as if he watches my channel. I just wanted y'all to hear it from your own, you know what I mean, visuals, without me alluding to anything. He's pretty much dropping the same shit I say, the same shit we say. You feel what I'm saying? I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. This is the part where we do an open panel. You see the link is on the screen. You see the link is on the screen. So anybody want to hit the link and come on and build? Come on and do that. We got 217 in here. You want to support the channel? Hey, support the channel. The link is ticking across. The link is in the chat. And if you want to support the channel, that is on the bottom right screen. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Now, this is the time for Native Americans to join a panel. We got our first Native American on the panel. Shout out to Esky.
Why you call me that? Why you call me that?
Oh, my bad. I thought you was a Native American. My bad. I didn't know this was. I didn't know this was the Esky. You know what I'm saying? I thought this was somebody else. G.
My nigga. You let somebody.
Yo, what's going on, Steph?
What's up?
I can't call it big, bro. What you got going on?
Just finished rolling up, finished smoking a few.
Man, that's a fact.
Nah, nigga, I just got finished, nigga, drinking something, nigga. Fuck you mean rolling up, nigga? Fuck you talking about?
You drinking? It's early, bro.
Yeah, nigga, you smoking? It's early, bro. What the fuck you talking about, nigga? You said wake and bake, nigga. Fuck you talking about?
You just gotta make sure you eat something before you start smoking.
Shit, bro. Go get you some breakfast first, bro. You drunk already on the panel, and it ain't even motherfucking.
You smoking as a
That's some Hispanic
motherfucker.
shit right there.
You see? And this nigga, but he's smoking, nigga. Fuck you talking about? Nigga, so why you gonna call me out, nigga? You a smoking ass nigga. Nigga.
You goddamn right.
Hell yeah, nigga. We smoke breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but you ain't supposed to drink breakfast, lunch, and dinner though, bro. Like,
Kidneys all off balance.
Well, why not, nigga? Didn't we drink rum?
Dinner, nigga.
Nigga,
that's real shit.
Didn't we drink rum? We did this back in the days. We drank rum, nigga, once upon a time. Fuck you talking about? Did we not? Call me a lie.
What'd you say, bro? I ain't hear you.
Didn't we drink once upon a time, nigga?
I mean, we still drink. We just didn't drink for breakfast, though.
No, we did that. We drank rum once upon a time.
Yeah, and that was at a rough point of our time during a rough time, and that was usually during the blues era. And you can hear how blues music turned out. It was very pain drawn. It was very heavy. You know what I mean? It was down and bad. You know what I mean? Nobody wants
Bullshit, nigga. We used to smoke once upon a time in the morning, in the afternoon, evening, and all that.
Word.
Nigga, and these so-called Americas, nigga.
You was a damn lie. You don't need
nigga, we used to smoke that shit, nigga.
That shit come from the South. So listen.
That shit called wino.
You was a wino, G.
Nah, nigga, bullshit, nigga. We used to smoke all that, nigga. Morning, evening, what else, nigga? Give me another term.
Nigga don't sound right.
Nigga, your ass is a drunk, nigga. Your ass drunk, nigga. Your ass is drunk in the morning, nigga. You next the Tomahawk
Tommy. Morning drunk. That shit is crazy.
Nigga.
But you a smoking ass nigga though. But you a smoking ass.
Ain't smoking no more now.
Smoking don't do shit to your brain though.
No, smoking does do something to your brain.
No,
bullshit.
Go back and look at them studies.
Popping my brother
do shit to your brain.
Bullshit, nigga.
But drinking do.
Bullshit. All I'm saying that I could drink something, but this nigga smoking something. But we used to do this back in the days, and he told me
you got
we didn't do this
in your body, nigga, off of drinking. Smoking don't
what?
put spirits in your body. It actually
Wait.
elevates you. It's
Bro, you say
stimulating
I
you,
didn't
right?
hear you.
you say nigga for every word. I bet you count like 1, nigga 2, nigga 3, nigga 4. You use nigga for everything, G.
For real, he love
I'm
that
from New
word.
York City, though. I'm from New York City.
Man,
Hold on.
fuck you.
Hold on.
Start
I'm from
using
New
that
York
word.
City.
What that mean?
You know what that means?
I don't got shit
That
to do
means
with
that
niggas.
means that
Did you
means
hear
that
about?
means y'all say a bunch of shit like bro, son, word is bond, motherfucking
Oh
word to my
shit! You
mother.
see?
Why
So
ain't you
you
doing
know.
that? Why ain't you
You
doing that?
know what time it is.
They
So you
don't
know
say
what time
nigga,
it is, my nigga.
they
You don't
nigga
even
that much. They
realize that
say word
alcohol
is
is a
bond.
depressant. It's bringing you down.
Okay, it might bring me
Weed
down,
is a
but he
stimulant.
knows.
He can
How
use
did
the
It
he
word.
know?
elevates you.
Listen, I'm okay
I'd
with
rather
him
be
using the word.
elevated
I just
than
want to just let him know he
depressed,
use
nigga.
it an awful lot. You know what I'm saying? Like you can use it as much as you want, but like you
And the
know,
way it sound too.
it make you
Homeboy,
it make you sound very uh
6ix9ine ish. Say it.
no, not even 6 9, not even
You
All
six
the
said this when you
Felicians.
first met me. You said you sound like 6ix9ine.
not
And what
because
does
of,
6ix9ine do?
not because you was using the word nigga. It was the way you
No.
it was the way you
But
connotated your words. The words when you use nigga so much, it make you sound very jive turkey-ish, dumb sambo niggas. You know what I mean? It makes it seem like you don't have any type of other words to implement or use different words in a
We don't
vocabulary
even use
to
nigga like that.
make a
That
point. You
that
feel
shit
me?
is
Aboriginal
scary.
power. Aboriginal power. You told me you sound like 6ix9ine. I said, what you mean? You said you sound just like him and your cadence, and then you say nigga every other sentence. And I was like, yeah, because I'm a nigga from New York and I'm so-called Latino, nigga. And that's what it is.
No, I definitely didn't say that. But
Nah, you did, my nigga. You did.
I really didn't. Trust me.
Like the elders say back home,
This nigga,
Kalamate,
you from Philly.
Kete Kalamo.
You're not from Philly.
With that
You
nigga shit.
from
Kalamate, Kete Kalamo. If you understand what I'm saying.
wait, what did you say,
I
homie?
said Kalamate, Kete
And if
Kalamo.
you look
With that
at my
nigga shit.
history,
You tell me Calamate?
Kete Kalamo with that nigga shit. Because we get it,
down.
but stop using it every other word. Let's
No, no,
bring
no,
some
no,
balance.
no. But so-called Latinos in New York City, that's how we talk.
And that's why
Cause
we
they
be
have
beating them the
blacks.
fuck up. Because they
So
talk too much. Like that's
No,
what we trying to tell you. Like it's all good. We not tripping off you using the word. That's all good. We just saying like calm, like you can
Yeah,
when
ain't
you on
nobody
here
tripping.
with the
For real.
gods, when you on here with the gods, try to use a different set of vocabulary when intellectually speaking, because we have a lot of youth in here, and we don't want to insert the nigga. We want to try to teach them to use other words outside of that.
Bring more
guess
positive
what,
vibe in
Aboriginal
words.
power? Guess what? Nigga, I want to get busy, nigga. Pause. No homo.
Wow.
Nigga, let's get down. All I'm saying is, let's get down, my nigga. I'm not talking to you in particular, but I'm just saying,
You too
nigga,
small
I
to
want
box
to get
with
down.
the God, man. You too small to box with the God, nigga.
Oh shit, this nigga, you a Philly ass nigga. Well, you from Memphis, ain't you? Say you from Memphis?
No, I didn't. See, you always quote
Where
from
you from? Where you from, cuz?
where you from?
I'm
Dominica?
from
Not
Brooklyn.
in New
I'm from
York.
Brooklyn.
You from
I'm from
Dominica?
Brooklyn. I'm from
You from
Brooklyn, homie.
the Republic, bro.
You from Hispaniola,
You from
homie.
DR, bro.
I'm from Hispaniola, that's right. But via Brooklyn, nigga.
Via Hispaniola.
And I want to get busy, nigga. I want to get out. Don't forget that part, nigga.
Yo, AP,
Yeah.
I gotta ask a question. So when it comes to the, Aboriginals, do you still believe in like slavery and like the way that went? I know like the boats and all that other shit. Not that, but just like, do you believe in slavery in general in the
Oh
Americas?
yeah, I believe in slavery. I mean, what do you mean, like how they tell it to you in history?
Yeah, kind of how they tell it, because they talking about boats from Africa and all that other shit. like in the Aboriginals, speaking if we're the Aboriginals, how will it be?
Well, they
Oh,
dramatize Africa, right? In these particular ones. But
right.
I do believe in the slave trade. It ain't that I believe in it. I know it to be a fact. I have the ship ledgers. I have the slave manifestos. We have these. We have the
Mhm.
records. It's just not the demographic of people that they're alluding to. It's not these large numbers of heavy melanated people you're finding vagabonds and and bums of what we so call white people or peasants, youth for the peasants, and they're coming in large numbers, and they're coming in the 16, 14, 16, 16, 16, 19, all in America at the same place where they say these so-called Africans was coming to. The thing is, you have records of these so-called white people coming to Jamestown or Hampton, Virginia, but
That's
there's
crazy. You said that shit. I'm from the 7-5. You feel me?
Hold on, but what did Dane Calloway say to you? Aboriginal power.
I'm in
Uh-oh.
Newport News right
Uh-oh.
now.
Esky, hold on. I got you, bro. I got you. We're gonna get into this bag. We get into some information right now.
I'm damn near in Hampton right now.
Yeah, so when you go down there in that particular area, you we can go into the ship manifestos that was in that area. You feel me?
And I used to be stationed in Hampton Roads. Like I was stationed in Norfolk.
You don't
Word.
even understand
I
the
was down there for
Roanoke
like
colony.
4 years of my life in the
You
Navy.
was in the Navy?
Yeah, I was in Hampton
Oh, okay.
Roads,
You see, I know it. Why? Because my brother was in the Navy.
and we also have documentation of inward outward coastwise manifest ship ledgers that are coming from Philly to Baltimore to Charleston, South Carolina to Savannah, Georgia to Mobile, Alabama to Louisiana and
Damn.
parts of the Carib region. It was all a domestic manifest. We have those too, and nobody
Right,
wants to talk about those. And that's
right.
just
Because
in
they don't want to talk about it
America,
because they're scared.
mainland America.
And like I said, man, when we deal with it, and a lot of these billies don't even like to acknowledge their history, but they do. It's been hidden from them, from other people. You know what I mean? White people at a point of time, started enslaving their own people. This is where you get that shit, that black on black crime, because this is what they called it. It was called black on black crime. It was black, or the Germanic word was what they was using at the time, would have been bleak or oblique, which means bleak, which means without melanin, pale. You
Because
feel
they're black.
me?
They're black.
You see what I'm saying?
Call
So
it what it is.
yeah, the black on black crime is talking about these people. So when you hear about these black people selling out they other black people into slavery, you literally have that. And you have records of Negroes who was classified as Negroes at this time, people who was classified as Indians due to the shade of their skin. You feel me? All owning these so-called white people.
Facts. Because they are the so-called black person and we are the white people. Why? Because this is our land. We are the white people.
I don't know about that one.
I don't know. You drunk, you see,
Lost me on that one. I don't know
nigga,
about
we
that.
done talked about
Sleep.
it.
Nah,
Sleep. I ain't white,
bullshit.
bro. You might want to pop the
We the
replay on that
niggas
or
of the
sleep.
land. We are the so-called white people.
Oh no, I'm a doctor, bro. I'm not no white person, bro. I'm Aborigine.
No. Well, what's Aboriginal?
Not white.
So-called
Not
indigenous,
white.
so-called white people. That's us.
But not real shit. In Hampton, Virginia.
Big Aboriginal power. You know what time it is, my nigga. Why you ain't backing me up?
You a drunk ass. Your ass drunk. Listen, let me put you up on game though.
This nigga call me a drunk. That's fucked up, homie.
I didn't say you ain't drunk. I say you are drunk because you said this. This is a fact. You
Give
said
that
this.
man a BC good pop.
But we're not white. As a matter of fact, we're colored. What color? Copper color.
No,
Where the
no,
copper
no,
color
no.
races
I think what
travel
he means. I think what
prior.
this.
No, only foreigners get the status of white.
No, no, no. Bullshit. Bullshit. Let me tell you. White means that you own the land that you're on.
Okay.
So we are white people. And then foreigners, copper color is what this nigga Christopher Colon, what he called us. He called us copper people. But that's bullshit. We are so-called white people. Am I lying? Am I lying?
Yeah, some people are. You're right. And they wouldn't just be called white people, they would be called free whites.
Okay, am I white to you, nigga? You see my face? Am I white to you?
This is what a free white would look like in historical times. These people is
Right.
classified as free whites.
Okay, but am I so-called white to you? You saw my face though, big
Yeah, yeah.
Aboriginal power,
I can't remember, but yeah, from what I remember, you look a little
nigga.
mixed.
You want me to show you again?
No, I don't.
No homo, no homo. I'll show you again, nigga. Let me go upstairs. Hold on.
We know what
No, it's okay.
Hispaniola look
It's
like.
okay.
You
It's
don't gotta
okay,
show us,
man.
man.
You ain't
Nah,
got shit.
nigga, bullshit, nigga. I don't
Okay,
want to show
you
this
look
nigga my
black.
face.
You look black.
There
You
you
look
go with
black.
that
You
nigga
look
shit.
black.
After I
You
done
look
told
black.
him
No,
to
no, no,
calm,
no,
I
no,
take
no,
that
no,
to
no.
calm.
I don't look black. I don't look black. I don't look
You look
black.
like Cleveland Brown.
I'm light skinned ass nigga. This is why the other day, do you remember that you came at my wig and you called me a bitch ass nigga? Remember when you called me a bitch ass nigga? Yeah, do you remember that? Nigga, Aboriginal Power called me a bitch ass nigga. You say you a
Yo,
bitch ass nigga.
Listen
Remember
though,
that?
you be doing
in
too
the
much,
words of
bro. I'm
New
trying to
York
tell you to
slang,
calm
son,
down, bro. I don't want to
chill,
do that.
son, chill,
Yo, I
God,
was
My nigga.
Yo,
chill,
everybody
B.
telling you to calm down. Like, stop drinking. You annoying. He look
God.
sick.
Nah,
He don't
nigga,
play.
bullshit.
They got
You
all
called
kind of
me a
shit they
bitch
doing
ass
up.
nigga. Nah, you called me a bitch ass nigga. Do you remember why?
Because you
Because
was
I
acting
asked you
like
a
one.
question. Do you remember why?
Because you was acting like one.
No, 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 no. That's not why. Because can I say what I asked you?
That nigga sound like
You drunk as a motherfucker, bro.
Boy, he wasted.
nigga sound
Oh
like he do
God!
landscaping.
Man, what
Gone,
the
white
hell
boy
going
wasted.
on, man?
Listen to me,
This is
homie.
crazy.
Let Aboriginal Power answer my question. Can I tell you why you call me a bitch ass nigga?
Sound like he do
I told
drywall.
you.
About
Go ahead.
building,
Tell me
and
why
this
you
this
think
dude
so.
is
I
just
told you
bringing the
why.
whole frequency and
You
No,
fucking
no,
vibration
up
no, no,
the
no.
down.
field, though, bro. You really is. I'm
You
about to
gotta
have to kick
go,
you
bro.
off. If y'all don't want to kick you off, but you
Yeah.
fucking up the field, G.
These brothers on Awake and Bake. Awake and Bake deals with stimulants. You on a
Yes,
depressant.
stimulating, not
You
not
can't be on a
motherfucking.
depressant
I'm
when
trying to
someone
get
is
some
on a
information
stimulant.
on.
Your
Wait,
ass
That's
is
why
a
you
let
on
little.
those
homie
You
pounds,
ain't
man.
respond
You
though.
trying to
Oh my,
build.
he gonna keep
Okay,
going,
I'm
bro.
gonna tell you why, because you allowed me to answer your question. So I'm gonna answer your question. Why did you call me a bitch ass nigga? Because I just asked you who is that in your photo, and then some nigga came on and said, "Oh nigga, you're not supposed to talk about a nigga's wife." And I was like, I don't know if that's his wife. That could be his sister. And then Cuz said, "Oh no, you know that." And then he put a battery in your back, and then you came at me and you said, "You a bitch ass nigga, Esky." And I was like, "Wow, that's fucked up."
Damn.
These
Remember
brothers
that?
on the Wake and Bake, man.
Hey,
You're
Esky,
going they high.
like I
Calm
told you last
down, nigga.
time, keep it about information. We on this panel about information. If you're not talking about information, then it's irrelevant. And if we tell you to stop asking irrelevant shit, then you gonna get your little ass cussed out. You a Mexican?
No.
Breed a Dominican? Esky.
No.
Esky, take your lips off the bottle. Calm down, G. Listen, fam. Listen, we don't give a fuck. We say what I want to say, and I'm cool with that. As long as
Put
you
that
know I'm cool.
Tito's down.
I'm trying to go to work with a
But we
Diddy
chill.
bottle,
But you let
listening
somebody put
to
a
my
bat
brother
in your
AP, and
in your bag,
this
my nigga.
impersonating
That's
shit
fucked
right here
up,
got
my
me.
nigga.
Like, what
No,
the fuck?
it's called letting them speak. Now, if I got one of my generals or one of my brothers, now I'm sitting back chilling. I'm just letting you speak because you're looking crazy. I don't want to cuss you out, and I'm letting my brother tell you exactly what it is. But you overlook it, then you must want to hear it from me. That's what you want.
Nigga, I'ma show my face. You know what? I
Why you
like
gonna
when
show
you talk
your face?
pause, no homo.
Ain't nobody gonna see it.
Nigga, can I show my face?
Why?
Because I want you to see what time it is.
This
No
don't seem right,
homo, my
bruh. This
nigga.
don't seem
No
right.
gang shit.
Esky, I'll talk
This
to
shit
you later.
depressing,
Call
bro.
me when you sober up a little bit, bro. I fuck with you.
Damn.
God,
Put the
damn.
Tito's.
want you to calm down.
Something wasn't right about that.
Yeah,
Nigga,
this
he
shit
Something ain't
sounds like
depressing.
right
he got
about
nigga
that,
in his
fam.
blood and
God
don't know how
damn.
to. He don't know how to calm down. All he got to do is be a part.
Oh
You
shit.
got nigga in your blood. You got nigga in your blood. Okay. Oh well, good and fine. Act like you got some damn sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
like a nigga with a
God,
damn
Bless up,
oh, like
sis. Yeah, I'm glad you
it's
came
like
on
the
because I
little
know you was
handicapped little
about to
boy
tear his
or
ass up.
something, man. God damn.
Esky,
Nah. Don't tear me up.
Esky,
I'm
I think everybody came up on this panel just to tell you to be quiet because you always come in and infiltrate. We be on some learning and trying to build, and you always come in here and infiltrate on some nonsense. You need
but
to learn how to calm down and
but
know drinking is spirits and smoking is herb. It's a difference. Only Mexicans go and buy 2 cases of beer. It's not even beer 30 yet. You need to calm down.
young lady, guess who
That's
entertained
that
you?
Asian
Real
in
talk.
him.
Guess who entertained
We
you?
don't need
We
no
can
entertainment. We
stimulate your
over here
mind.
trying to build.
He on a depressing.
Yeah,
That's
and
that Chino in him.
Yeah,
no,
Esky, you
listen to me.
always come
Ain't no
on
Them
and
fucking
Chino
bring the
Chino
people,
whole
about
they
me.
be
bill
I ain't
down.
no
drinking
motherfucking
early
Chino.
morning. They wake up. Yes, you got a Chino in your
depressing
blood,
ass shit.
Bullshit.
bruh.
Bullshit.
You Dominican, bruh.
My mama's a nigga, nigga. I could show
Oh,
you
but
my
how you
mama.
gonna call your mama a nigga,
Esky, you
bro? That's
Bro,
thirsty.
disrespectful as fuck,
I ain't
bro.
no energy early in the
I'm
day.
not
Disrespectful.
disrespectful.
Stop calling your
Ain't
mama a
never
nigga.
disrespectful, my nigga.
You call your mama a nigga, bro.
Yeah, bull. Yeah, fuck that, nigga. I call my mama nigga because that's what I am. A motherfucking nigga too, nigga. What you mean?
Hey, Esky, though, listen, G. I want to let you on here, but we're going to get back to the information. Cause is that cool with
Oh,
you? If I build with some of my panel, is that okay with
okay,
you,
my nigga.
Esky? I appreciate that,
Thank you,
G.
thank you, thank you, thank you,
No, I
and
thank
thank you
you,
for
man.
letting me up.
I thank you since this your panel, man. I just want to speak to some people on the panel. If that's okay with you, bro. This your shit.
Uh, Thank you for letting me up, and I appreciate it. And I'm gonna mute myself.
Thank you.
Vamos.
Shout out to Hawk School. Shout out to Alice Kinsey. Shout out
Adios.
to the original Copper Uncle Homer. Shout out to Copper Alma. Shout out to Consciousness History. Shout out to Lil Yo Steph. And shout out to the chat as well, man. How y'all feeling out there? We got a lot of background noise and Hawk School stuff. I know you probably on a motorcycle or in the drop top or something. I can't tell. I'm gonna mute your mic up.
Yeah, house school in them streets. Bless up to big bro.
Shout out to Big Brother Hawk School in the building. Shout out to Steph. What up, though? So, man, what's up, man? Let's get back to the bill, man. No offense. Let's get back to it. Who all on here? We got Hawk on here.
Shit.
Thompson's history. What's up with it though? Anybody got a question?
What's popping, brother?
Shit, I
Esky
just
does. Esky got a question,
Hold on.
motherfucker.
Oh my god.
shit, me personally, I be searching shit every day and I don't understand how they can hide so much shit so easily. You know. If most people, they try to read books and shit, but really, if you just use your common sense a little bit, you know, and use your eyes, you know, use your senses, you probably come up with some shit.
That's a fact, though. I know you probably definitely can, man. Like once you start looking at shit and observing it, you can see that they've been lying and hiding shit in plain sight. They've been hiding it in plain sight. You feel me? You
Plain
go down
sight.
to your historical buildings, you gonna start seeing shit like, damn, what the
Yeah,
fuck
yeah.
is that? What the fuck is that? Like, hold on, this historical court office got some architect that look like some shit that you will see at another building. You
Yep.
feel what I'm saying? So yeah, at the end of the day, that shit.
Or like the fact they'll try to say that those ancient civilizations over there, but they ain't got no artifacts. All they got is little depictions and little like it just be like artificial shit they show you compared to the stuff we got over here. Real carvings and real stone, like for instance, like the Ankh. It's in stone here. They got little carvings in the wall over there in Egypt, so-called Egypt. They ain't got no real like carved unks. That's all. That's all like proof showing you that these people copying us. They just taking the stuff that we got and then placing it over there. They even take our artifacts and just put them in all these different places and then never bring them back here to America and tell it like it is. Tell it who it is. Like who's who it belongs to. They ain't explaining that. They giving it to these little Asian people in Mexico. That ain't they shit.
Yeah,
Hell no, it
real.
ain't that shit.
And Steph, the one thing that I'll say is this right here. The last time I had a conversation with my pops, like my pops is almost pushing 80, and we broke spirit. And when we broke spirit, it brought back energy to some information that I didn't even know existed, but I remember it when he asked me if I remembered it. And I'm an 80s baby. My pops was asking me about Geechee Road. And I'm going to let you know, you can't Google this shit. This is some oral shit. Lakeland, Georgia. It was an area called Geechee Road. Geechee Road is where the Geechees worked turpentine back in the day. I kid you not. And this was coming from my father, whose mother is a Geechee. And her family, her uncle, lived in Okfuskee, Oklahoma. Graduated from the Tuskegee Institute, and his burial grave is in Los Angeles, California. I got family in California I ain't even met. I got family in Arizona I ain't even met. Arizona, bro. We just talking desert land. So trust me when I say when we dealing with this genealogy, when we stimulating the minds and we're doing what we're supposed to do, we're doing it because we know this frequency right here, it brings in a major force. And we wouldn't be here if Big AP didn't bring us here.
For sure.
So that's always a good bliss, honor, and prosperity to the powers that be and to the elite force. But the information that I'm sharing with you, just know that Geechee Road existed in the southeast woodland regions, and it wasn't even on the coastal region of Georgia where you know most Geechees are at. It was inland. They
It's that
traveled
third eye,
inland.
boy.
So we got this information, and we gonna share this information, but we're not gonna allow motherfuckers to come in and take our information and monetize it and make money off of it the way that they're doing. We're going to share this information because we are building like our ancestors who were builders. That's what's stimulating your mind. And I'm getting ready to go to work. And I digress.
Hey, make sure you have a blissful day at work, bro. Don't work too hard. You already know. Take it
Oh, you
easy.
already know, bro. I ain't gonna have a stressful day. I'm gonna always meditate. That's the one thing that grandma taught me is to meditate. And I still remember them words that she spoke to me and she talked to me. and I'm thankful. It's always honor, bliss, and
Hell
prosperity.
yeah,
You
we can
already
talk.
know,
We
bro.
can talk about one of the. I want to get into one of the seminal chiefs that I liked. I forget his name. I can't even pronounce it. It was like Chief Holotai Makro, but they call him Chief Bowlegs. That nigga rode a horse through the South, fucking up them white boys. You understand
Yeah,
me?
he rode. Yeah, he rode on the Mustangs.
Chief Bowlegs. I ain't never heard of Chief Bowlegs. Oh, Chief Bowlegs one of those. Chief Billy Bowlegs. That's what they call him. Shout out to
Yeah,
Chief Billy.
yeah.
Uh,
That's where the phrase "hawk 'em down" came from
that's a fact. That's a
in
fact.
the
That's a
South. Like
fact.
you hawk them down, like you run them down, you hawk them down, and they rode on the Mustangs.
Mm-hmm.
Real talk. You right.
His mother killed the general in the early 1800s, if I'm not mistaken. And she had went on a run. They never found her or none of that. Her name was Polly Copinger, if I'm not mistaken, a mother of Chief Billy Bowlegs. But yeah, man, it's a lot of history out there, man. Like I said, I did the shit on Emperor Brim, which was the chief and the emperor of the Lower Creek Nation. You feel me? And played a significant parts setting up the Spanish borders in the Treaty of Guadalupe.
I want to piggyback off what you just talking about with her and killing. A lot of our women were the ones that are coming into the knowledge of self. I don't know if a lot of men get offended when we real strong willed, but whether y'all know it or not, we look that way. Due to genetics. All women ain't dressy. Well, I can carry both because that's what I do. But we have warrior spirits as well as the men do. No, a lot of today society look like where if you speak into a man or if you carry yourself a certain way, that's feminist. No, it's not. Because I believe in man and woman. I believe in that. But we also do carry a warrior spirit, like his mother. She was a warrior. She did what she had to do. Not all women was out there on the battlefield, but there were many out there on the battlefield. You know, Mao and Mink shit was shit that they had us dumbed down too. Because they knew they had to get us that way too, because we were just like our male counterpart. We will fight your ass. You see that in our neighborhoods.
What you said, Copper Empress.
Huh?
I said that's right. What you just said.
Yeah, we fight. If y'all go back growing up, y'all seen girls out here scrapping, and you be like, God damn, she throwing them hands.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's within us. This is nothing new. It's just we're turning that energy towards the pale skinned and those foreigners who came here to make our shit. But it's okay if you act like this towards our own. It's bullshit, y'all. I really
That's very true, Copper Empress. That's very very true. I am that
That's
type of.
fire.
I can dress it up and I can dress it down too. You know, same thing you said. That's very true because we as women, we carry the family. I mean, you know, our children, our husbands. You know, yeah, we fight for that. We will fight for that. And a lot of women back then during those times fought for their family when it came to their husbands and their children. A lot of the women's husbands got taken away. So we had to fight.
Yep.
I sense that from my mom.
Y'all the
Strong.
strongest ones. They don't even understand that. Once the so-called black woman gets back in power, the matriarch, they don't even understand.
because
That's what
we're
we
the law,
need.
and the men carry out the law.
Yep.
For sure.
The
Exactly.
matriarch was the teachers and they were the interpreters of men.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't understand that when it came to language, it was the women who were interpreting for these men. So pay attention to your mother
Mm-hmm.
and
We
always learn from your mother. That's your strength.
It's a lot of great women in historical past that they try that history and these colonizers don't want you to talk about because a lot of them really changed the game and the way things was looked at. You feel me? We ain't talking about no sellout Harriet Tubman. You feel me? We ain't talking about that. We talking about some real warriors. You feel what I'm saying? So
A lot of them don't even know, Ab, that we literally like wrote out the like when we was going to war, we the one wrote the blueprint out what the fuck to do.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, the women were the ones that knew the layout of the land and the territories. It was the women. It wasn't the men. The men only went and worked.
Yep.
When it was time to fight, we had to fight. But it was the women that knew the layout of the territory, and not only just the territory, the women, that gut feeling, that premonition to know when something is getting ready to happen, to know when to strike. They were the ones that led us into victory because of their premonition, because
Intuition.
of their gut feeling
right,
when it comes to nature.
you got the sister Acaroma, which is the daughter of Chief Cornstarch. She will went in. She ended up battling it out, fighting it out, leaving a curse on the land after she was killed and shit. She went out just like her father did. If you ain't familiar with the story of Chief Cornstarch, y'all know how he went down. That nigga got shot like 15 times, killed like 14 people. You feel?
Yeah, he went out kamikaze mode
Yeah,
because
he went out.
the muskets that they had back then, you could take probably about 15, 16 shots, big AP, before they take you down. Like, a lot of people didn't realize that. It wasn't until the 1900s, when they had those battles over in the Philippines with the Moros, that they created the caliber of what's that gun? Uh Dang,
The
the Smith
coat,
and I want to say the Smith and Wesson.
right?
Yeah, it was like one of them. Like, it's like one of them single shot kill type guns that just carried more power, because even though they were using them little ass muskets, these little 5.3 ass motherfuckers were taking on like 15 shots and damn near taking down almost 2-3 men before they died. So that's the type of shit that was happening whenever you're looking at like these Seminole Wars and stuff that was happening. When you parallel it to America, it's the same situation. That's the reason why they had to create the type of guns that they're using today.
Facts.
That one shot, one kill, because they couldn't kill us in one shot. You got ancestors hopping out of trees, shooting arrows. Like, come on, man.
We had cannons too.
Yeah. They had everything, all kind of fodder that would
Came from
light your ass up.
Where you think the guns came from?
All fortified in them star forts. Real
We
talk.
been had guns here.
but you let people tell it, they'll say that those came from somewhere else. It came from the Black Europeans.
They ass came over here with them arrowheads getting fucked up.
Yeah, we had forts that was fortified. They know that shit.
Hey man, I think the brother Hawk School about to do a build, so man, I kind of want to transition everybody over there. I'm gonna be over there building with the brother Hawk School over there on Hawk School channel. So if y'all ain't familiar with the brother Hawk School, make sure y'all go over to YouTube and subscribe. Run over there and check his channel out. I think he about to start the live, so we about to get ready to wrap this show up. Hey, we'll take 30 seconds and we'll allow everybody to hit the like button. Share this on all your social media outlets and give everybody the opportunity to share this. You know what I mean? Share the live stream. Share the live stream. You know what I mean? Support the channel and all that. You feel me? We'll be back in 30 seconds, man. Appreciate everybody tapping in. One of my moderators put Hawk School link to the channel in the chat. Put his channel link in the chat. Hawk School already did. Shout out to Hawk School. Hawk School in the chat, man. Shout out to him. We about to transition over there. So, hey, the 225 that's in here watching now, everybody go over there to Hawk School channel. We about to go over there and turn up. Make sure y'all
Appreciate
channel. Hit the like button. Hey, big brother Steph, come back on sometime, brother. Appreciate you up here. Time
You
to
already
you
know.
one on
Peace,
one,
brother.
big dog.
Peace,
Original
brother.
OG.
Hello.
Go ahead. You got the flow, OG. Oh, she gone. All right, shout out Lil Yost, man. Oh, Yost, enjoy your day, man. I
Yeah,
know you
bliss up, brother. You already know. Yeah, I'm out of there. When I get to work, I'm gonna tap in and share Hawk School live.
all right. Be safe, man. Be careful and enjoy the rest of your day, man. Be safe.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. With that being said, man, we're gonna get ready to close up out of here. Man, y'all know how we riding, man. Y'all know how we feeling, man. It's a cold, cold world, man. And so we're gonna end this with some jammy jam, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. It's your brother Aboriginal Power, man. Y'all know how this is, man. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Hey, support the channel, hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe. We out of here.
I know these streets won't show no love to me. Remember I was down and they was up, now they look up to me. I guess I'm paralyzed, ain't worried about no nigga touching me. They ain't listening, now they loving me. My fans, they needed help and I gave them a hand. They know I'll give all I can. I had to learn this shit get dirty, you gotta watch your man. If he cross you once, he'll do it twice, you gotta watch your hand. When we was kids, everything was cool, but shit changed. I was trying to get them out the hood, but I can't. Came from down below, my bag got bigger. Cause you won't ever know in this short time. I went to jail and had to change the way I'm living. All that I lost, but I could never lose my mind. Made on my mind, I'm cool with leaving the streets. This shit get deep, you can't believe what you see. All the times that I see and I had to drop to my knees. Lord forgive me.
Make sure y'all go over there to the Hawk School channel, man. We're gonna be right back over there. I'm gonna be over there too, so come on over there. Let's get it. We're going to Hawk School house.
Don't jump up in the
Knock on
streets,
the
this
door.
shit get deeper than a sea. This shit get deep, y'all. This shit get deep, they promoting violence. I just promote what's real. These niggas out here wildin', they just can't wait to kill. If you get caught, you know you going to jail that 50 years. Can't teach them how to pop a pill, but I bet they won't tell them this. This shit deeper than you think. If they ain't on the same shit you on, your ship gon' sink. Who gon' look after your people if you gotta go away? This shit a filthy game. I done seen a million things. I done been through all the pain. Sunshine and it still gon' rain. Can't go down below, my bag got bigger. Cause you won't ever know in this short time. I went to jail and had to change the way I'm living. All that I lost, but I could never lose my mind. I made up my mind, I'm cool with leaving the streets. This shit get deep, you can't believe what you see. All the times that I see and I had to drop to my knees. Lord forgive me, this shit get deep. They love all my songs, they say I speak to the streets. Try to take me out, somebody leaving with me. Don't jump up in the streets, this shit get deeper than the sea. This shit get deep, y'all. This shit get deep, y'all.